So let's get cracking. This technique is called tracing down. I love it. It's quick, it's accurate. I think you're going to love it. That's why I'm going to show you how to do it. Take your 4 reference images that you've printed off. If you've only printed off 2, that's fine. And all you're going to do is just pick up a graphite pencil, and you're basically going to start to rub over the back of the reference image, as you can see me demonstrating in the video. Some of you should remember this when you was a kid at school. The teachers probably taught you this technique. I still use it to this day. I find it very useful, and also when you're doing photorealism, as this video is about, you just can't get anything more accurate. Of course, if you guys want to do it freehand or you want to draw out grids, that's fine, but you definitely won't find those techniques as quick and as accurate as what I'm demonstrating or going to show you in this short video clip. Now, the object of what you're trying to do here is cover all the white areas of the back of the paper. Now you can see me going in different directions. That's just to make sure that there's a nice even layer of graphite on the back of the image, so that when I eventually flip it over and start to trace out the image, the graphite pencil will then leave a trace of the image that I'm tracing onto my paper. Take your time when you're doing this. Your hand can get a little bit achy. It can take you a good 10-15 minutes to do this, but just persevere and take your time. Now, for those of you that don't want to take the time and do it that way, you can, of course, get yourself some graphite paper like this. And this is even quicker. You pull out a sheet, lay it over your paper as I'm demonstrating. I'm just using a scrap piece of paper. You'll then get your photo or your reference image that you're tracing out, and all you'll do is draw down or trace down on top of your image through the graphite paper onto your paper, and as you're about to see, boom. How quick was that? So now you want to do is grab your paper. That's the Strathmore 300 series Bristol Smooth. You're going to place your reference image on top of the paper, and what I'm doing here is taping down my drawing surface. I don't want that moving whilst I'm tracing out. If the paper moves around, it will kind of leave a like a ghost, we call it, or a shadow. So make sure everything's taped down and in place. And then once you're happy with where the reference image is, just put a couple of pieces of tape along the top of the reference image just to hold that into position. Some people put a bit of tape along the bottom. I don't. I like to flip up, as you'll see in a minute, the reference image just to check that everything I'm tracing out is actually coming out onto my paper. Now I'm fiddling around here. I'm literally just trying to get it in the center of the camera, just so that you guys can see it more clearly. Okay, so all I'm doing here is I've chosen to use a biro. Some people use a technical pencil. It really doesn't matter. Some people just use a graphite pencil. The reason why I'm using a red biro is because I like to see the areas that I've traced over. So that that could be a useful tip for some of you guys. A red biro. The biro that I'm using or chosen to use is a Bic, and it's a fine biro, I think is how they describe it. Now take your time, pick out all the areas, look at the different values where one area blends into another, flip up your reference image as I'm doing there just to check that it's coming out onto your paper. I like to put as much information into my line drawing as possible. I'd rather have too much information than not enough. Now I'm speeding this up. I don't think you need to see the next hour of me just doing a line drawing. I think you get the idea. You know, if you have any questions with regards to what I'm doing here, please feel free to reach out and message me. I'll do my best to answer you as quick as possible. Look at all the tiny different shapes, the values, where one value blends into another, and just mark it out. I use tiny little dotted lines where one dark value blends into another. This gives me an indication when I come to colour it in of where to start my blend. All those tiny little hairs, skin, pores, all that detail I'm going to put into this drawing. Just coming around there, that's it, just going to go into the eye now. All those tiny little eyelashes. Into that little dark crease up in the top of the eye. Any little highlighted areas as well I'm going to put in. Just down here where all the skin pores are, I'm just marking all those out in my stencil as well. Don't make up anything. A lot of people trust their brain, and what I mean by that is that people think that eyelashes are all going in the right direction. They're not. Look at your reference image and just trace out exactly what you see. Don't trust your brain. Your brain will try and tell you to stylize things and start putting in information that isn't there. Just constantly look at your reference, trace out what you can see. And that's that. Okay, so once you've done your line drawing, remove the tape. Take away your reference image. And hopefully, as I zoom in, you can see my line drawing. Again, I have attached my line drawing to the materials section.